The following clip is from a Quran chapter analysis video I made that is a part of my broader, in-depth Studying the Study Quran playlist. Whether you are a Christian, Jew, Muslim, atheist, etc., I believe you will learn a lot about Islam and religion in general from watching this series. So please feel free to check out the full playlist by clicking on the end screen or the link in the description for it. Or if you're just interested in seeing the video that this clip was taken from, I'll provide a link and an end screen for it as well. But without further ado, here is the clip you actually wanted to watch when you clicked on my face. Enjoy. The next verse I would like to read and discuss in chapter 13 is verse 15. And unto God prostrates whosoever is in the heavens and on the earth, willingly or unwillingly, as do their shadows in the morning and the evening. And now I would like to read the footnote associated with this verse, and then I'm going to pull a piece of Native American art into this analysis video, as I think it is relevant. That all things prostrate to God, willingly or unwillingly, means that all things at all moments are prostrate, that is, submitted existentially before God. Either they understand this state of affairs and prostrate voluntarily in recognition of it, or they prostrate involuntarily and unwittingly. From a spiritual perspective, and with respect to human beings' prostration before God, Al-Mayboudi, that's probably not the way his name is pronounced, says that a prostration is done willingly when one submits to God's command and majesty without any hope of reward or gain. The prostration done unwillingly occurs when one prostrates to God out of desire for something, whether it is to elicit blessings or to avoid some form of harm. As do their shadows is a way of saying that even their shadows submit to God, which means that every aspect of their being is under His sway, and in the morning and the evening implies that they do so perpetually. So I find all of that to be really fascinating. The idea here is that we are totally dependent on God for everything, whether we recognize it or not. I think that's true, but that whole thing we just read there brought to mind a piece of Native American sand art that my grandmother gave me, and it's this right here. This piece of art is called The Great God Spirit, and this is the sun here. And I want to read a little bit off of the back here, and I'll probably put the text up on screen, as there's an interesting little through line here between this piece of art and what we just read from the Quran. So I'm going to read a little description of what the Great God Spirit is in Native American culture, and then I'm going to try and connect what we just read with what I'm just about to read here. The Great God Spirit. As all living things on the earth are dependent on the energies of the sun is used as a symbol of the Great God Spirit. The Rainbow Man was His creation, His sun, through which all things on earth were created, and the thunderbird represented the power of His spirit. The feathers surrounding the sun symbolized the close communication of the Great God Spirit with the Indian. The three colors on the face of the Great God Spirit symbolize the rainbow through which all creation takes place. So I'm not super informed as to, exactly what the Rainbow Man, like the whole theology around that and Thunderbird in Native American culture. Clearly, from what we just read, it's almost like the tribes that associate with this kind of particular conception of God probably had some Christian influence, and that there is a little bit of a trinity going on with what we just read in relation to this image. But what I really want to draw your attention to is where it says, as all living things on the earth are dependent on the energies of the sun is used as a symbol of the Great God Spirit. I find that absolutely fascinating, because if you think about ancient history, people worshipped the sun. And we look at that today and we're like, oh, that's just irrational, that's stupid. Why would you worship this big glowing orb in the sky? But when you think about it, it's actually not silly at all, in that without the sun, nothing happens on Earth. There is no life. We are, in a sense, completely dependent on the sun, and we totally submit to the sun. Just about all of us, all the time. And we very often are not conscious of the fact that we are submitting to the sun, but that's what we're doing. We get up when the sun rises, we go to sleep when it sets. We have energy when the sun shines on our face, we do not have energy when we go long periods without the sun. Even at night, we are dependent on the sun, when the moon is out at least, for light. And I just think there's a very interesting idea here in the Quran, where it's like, even the shadows of people submit to the sun. That's true. We don't really have, like when we're walking around outside, the reason we have a shadow is because of the sun. And we have no control over whether or not we have a shadow, so long as we are standing in front of the sun. We've moved away, obviously, from that old, archaic conception of sun worship, but still, the reasons for why we worshipped the sun in the ancient history of man are still present in the modern religions that guide man to this day.